Welcome. Today, we are diving deep into the secret language of art. We're going to pull back the curtain and see how artists hide all sorts of meanings in their work, turning something as simple as a painting or even a carpet into this incredibly rich, complex story.
Have you ever just stood in front of a painting and had that feeling that you're missing something? You know, like a simple flower or a skull sitting next to some fruit is trying to tell you a secret? Well, guess what? You're absolutely right. These objects are part of a hidden code, a visual language that's designed to speak to us, sometimes across hundreds of years.
And that secret code has a name: symbolism. It's how artists can take an everyday object and just load it with meaning. They use it to represent huge ideas: life, death, love, temptation. It's what transforms a simple picture into this deep, emotional experience. It's kind of like the artist is inviting us to lean in, look a little closer, and discover what they really wanted to say.
All right, so let's start by decoding some of these symbols in a place you might feel familiar with: Western art. You've probably seen these things a million times, but maybe you didn't realize just how much they were saying.
Okay, take a painting of a fruit basket. Looks pretty straightforward, right? But oh no, each piece of fruit is telling its own story. An apple? Well, that can be a nod to temptation, from the Garden of Eden. Grapes might suggest pleasure, maybe even lust. And a pomegranate, packed with all those seeds, often stands for fertility and marriage. But then, look closer. If you see fruit that's starting to rot, the artist might be making a bigger point, maybe about the decay of society, or just reminding us that life doesn't last forever. And speaking of not lasting forever, let's talk about one of the most powerful in-your-face symbols in all of art: the skull. This is what's known as a memento mori. It's Latin and it means, remember that you will die. It's this stark, unavoidable reminder of our own mortality. You'll often see it placed right next to symbols of life and beauty, like fresh fruit or blooming flowers, to create this really haunting contrast. It's a way of saying, enjoy all this, but remember, it's fragile. But here's the thing. This secret language isn't just for paintings. Not at all. It's a universal human thing. And to see just how deep and ancient this practice is, we're going to move from the canvas to the carpet and explore the absolutely mind-blowing symbolism that's been woven into Persian rugs for thousands of years.
I mean, just think about it. Weaving is one of the oldest art forms we have. The earliest woven fibers ever found are a staggering 34,000 years old. That's incredible. And look at this timeline. The world's oldest surviving carpet, the Pazyryk rug, is 2,500 years old, and it's already packed with this sophisticated symbolic language. This proves that this tradition is truly deeply ancient.
Now here's where it gets really fascinating. A symbol isn't universal. Its meaning can change dramatically depending on where you are. A perfect example, the dragon. In most European stories, the dragon is evil, right? It's a fire-breathing monster that a hero has to slay. But in Persian and Chinese cultures, it is the complete opposite. The dragon is a powerful symbol of good fortune, a bringer of wisdom, prosperity, and rain. Same image, totally different. Opposite meanings. This shows how different cultures come up with their own unique symbols for life's biggest questions. So, where Western art might use a skull to talk about mortality, the tribal cultures that wove these incredible rugs used the ram's horn. Think about it. The ram was a source of life. It provided meat, milk, wealth. So naturally, its horn became this super powerful symbol of fertility, heroism, and pure strength. Okay, so we've seen what these symbols mean, but that begs a much bigger question. How does an artist even create them? Why is it that art, with its weird, condensed, emotionally charged images, feels so much like a dream? Well, some really cool cognitive research suggests this comparison is way more than just a metaphor.
And that's really the core question here. Both dreams and symbolist art speak a language of feeling and association, not literal, straightforward description. They both can take a super complex idea and just compress it into a single, powerful image. So is it possible that the artist's mind, when they're creating, is actually in a state that's a lot like the dreaming mind?
Okay, now what's really cool about this is how it breaks it all down. Think of your mind having two parts: a generator that just cooks up images freely, and an editor that steps in to control and refine them. Now, when you're dreaming, that generator is running wild, and the editor is, well, it's pretty much asleep. But when an artist is creating, they're both awake and active. The artist lets those dreamlike images bubble up from the generator, but then the editor comes in to shape them, revise them, and anchor them onto the canvas. It's a dance between the two.
And this back and forth, this dynamic between the generator and the editor is the whole magic trick. It's what allows an artist to take a completely private vision, something that's just inside their own head, and turn it into something that we can all see and understand. They're essentially catching a dream and making it real for everyone.
This right here gets to the heart of it. The weird symbols in your dreams, they only have to make sense to you. They're tied to your own personal memories. But an artist has a much tougher job. They can't just use their own private language. A symbol in a work of art has to connect an internal, private feeling with some kind of shared, collective meaning that an audience can actually connect with. And this story, it just illustrates that point perfectly. Rug expert Michael Korish tells this amazing story of a young weaver who had a crush on a guy who lived nearby. She never said a word to him. Instead, she wove him and his tent right into the rug she was making. She used the public, shared language of weaving to send a deeply private message. The symbols she used told her family and the whole village her story for her. And you know what? It worked. So what's the big takeaway here? What does all this mean for us? Well, understanding this secret language kind of changes how you see everything. It shows us that art isn't just about making pretty things. It's a fundamental way that we humans process our world, control our feelings, and share our deepest, most private thoughts. So if you remember one thing, let it be this. A dream is like a virtual painting the brain makes just for itself. It's private, it's fleeting, and it's totally uncontrolled. But a work of art is a virtual dream that has been negotiated with reality. It's an internal vision that's been captured, shaped, and made permanent so that it can be shared with all of us.
And that really leaves us with one last question, a question for you. We are all symbol makers. We're constantly telling stories about who we are through the clothes we wear, the things we do, the ideas we share. So, take a second and think about it. What symbols are you weaving into the story of your own life?